Free Japan Channel, number 89. Today, July 29th, Tuesday. The time is 7 p.m. here in Okayama Prefecture, Mimasaka City in Japan. Good evening, everybody. Are you enjoying summer? Here in Okayama, today it was very hot. However, now 7 p.m. Cool breeze is coming through the window. Here is mountainous area, and the temperature is relatively low compared to the midday. So, night is very comfortable here without any air conditioner. FGC's tonight topic is Milton Friedman, Capitalism and Freedom. This is a topic of tonight, Capitalism and Freedom. This is a representative book of Milton Friedman. If you are interested in Friedman, this book should be the first book that you should cover. However, it is a bit difficult to read this Capitalism and Freedom, and you don't have so much time to read through it. Then, FGC helps you to cover the content of this book. Milton Friedman was the professor of Chicago University for more than 30 years. Therefore, there were so many disciples among his students. Some of them became the president of FRB or president of the United States even. Therefore, the influence of Friedman was so great that we shouldn't miss his book from our book list. However, at the same time, Milton Friedman is still now criticized for introducing very inhumane economics in the world. His disciples, for example, introduced the free economy in Chile, and in 1970s and 80s, General Pinochet was a leader of Chile. Therefore, some critics say that Milton Friedman's disciples helped Pinochet massacre Chileans and dictatorship. When Friedman got the Nobel Prize for Economics, there was a big protest in front of the reception hall. Therefore, if, for example, I introduce Friedman's book to you, some of you may have some disgust about it. I can understand it. Such opinion can be reasonable. However, I'm a libertarian, and Milton Friedman was also a libertarian, and he preferred to be called libertarian to be called liberalist. Then, what is the content of this book, Capitalism and Freedom? Here, Friedman advocated the value of freedom, and only capitalism can enable freedom to spread in the society. Without capitalism, there would be no freedom or liberty in the society. For example, communist system or socialist system inevitably leads to dictatorship because in order to employ the planned economy of socialism, dictators will invariably appear everywhere, in China, in Soviet Russia, or in Eastern European countries. Therefore, Friedman insisted that the policy which is similar to socialism should be removed from the governmental policy list. Especially, regulations from the government should be reduced. This is Friedman's policy. For example, public school is nonsense, according to Friedman. Every school should issue voucher. Voucher is a ticket to receive education, and students can get education in any school which the student prefer. Then, good education schools can gather many vouchers, whereas bad ones cannot. In this way, good teachers should be promoted economically and morally, and bad teachers are expelled from the market. Therefore, market is the most efficient tool for freedom. And Milton Friedman treasured the freedom. Therefore, only capitalism is the possible way for us to implement in the society. Not only education, but also public spending. Public spending by the government should be minimized. If the government interfere with the market, it will inevitably distort the market itself, and the economic power of the country declines. Therefore, deregulation and privatization are the two pillars, so-called two pillars of Friedman economics. Here in this book, Friedman lists 14 areas to be privatized. I don't enumerate these 14 lists. If you are interested in them, you should consult this book by yourself. Of course, these 14 areas include education, public spending, but also pension, for example, or other welfare system. I can agree with Friedman in terms of pension system. Here in Japan, we have to pay for pension compulsorily to the government. This payment begins when we are at 20 years old. So we have to pay this pension money for more than 40 years. Then when we get 65 years old or so, we get the pension. However, I always wonder, is it the government job to take care of person's pension? If we want pension, we have to prepare for it by ourselves, not by the government. Therefore, my personal feeling is that I don't want to be deducted. I want to be deducted the pension money for the future. Rather, I should or I want to spend this money for now. I can then invest much more promising field than governmental pension system. However, the money has been deducted all the time. This is irrational, in my opinion, and Milton Friedman is to the point in this book. Milton Friedman's Capitalism and Freedom. This is a really masterpiece of economics, and I can recommend that you should read it in your life sometime. However, as I said at the first part of this program, it is a bit difficult book and you don't have any time, maybe. Then this broadcasting is a kind of help for you to get familiar with Friedman's theory. Thank you.